The more we talk about mental health, the less taboo it becomes. There are still too many barriers caused by stigma, low self-esteem, disclosure concerns, and many more that can hinder people to openly talk about their mental health and access the right support. We all have a social responsibility to look out for one another. So if you see something that you don't think is right or that might need action, then you should speak up. It might be easier to notice whether something seems out of the ordinary in your friends and family than in your co-workers or employees because of the existing relationship. But the key is to being open, non-judgmental, and empathetic. When you try to talk to someone who you're concerned about, the best thing to do is just use your normal approach, especially if you already have a rapport with them. When you ask someone how they are, don't just say, "How are you?" and then move on. Be purposeful and say, "How are you really?" We're so used to saying okay or fine when people ask us how we're doing, that it can be really easy to miss the opportunity to talk openly. If you've noticed that someone doesn't seem themselves, you might be better being honest about your observations, like, "You've seemed a bit down lately, is everything okay?" Asking with genuine care and concern will not come off as pushy or evasive. It's possible that when you ask someone if they're okay, they choose not to disclose anything to you, or they might even say that everything is okay. There could be many explanations for this. Perhaps they don't want to worry you, or they feel ashamed. Or maybe they actually are okay. That's why it's important not to make assumptions. If someone isn't opening up to you, or they've withdrawn from interactions, you could try reframing your approach and say that you need them. By shifting the focus to you, it can break the barrier and take the pressure off. You could also suggest going for an activity, like a walk, as some people feel more comfortable talking in natural settings as opposed to a planned discussion which can feel intimidating and intense. Remember that you can't force someone to talk, and despite best efforts, you may not be able to help, especially if the person isn't aware they're struggling. If you don't have an established rapport with the person, then you should be upfront about the goal of your discussion. You're concerned about them and want to help if needed. This will help to clear up any assumptions or potential misunderstandings. Most people prefer honest and open conversations, so making the first move to open up a dialogue can be key to helping someone get the right support. Make sure you avoid any interruptions during the conversation by switching off your phone and limiting any other distractions. To begin the conversation, you may want to start by exploring the person's experiences or symptoms. This could be asking them how they've been feeling lately. Alternatively, you might start with what you've observed. For example, you noticed they got really upset the other day and you want to see if they're okay. Avoid falling into the trap of telling someone what to do or how to feel. Saying things like, "There's no need to be sad about that, you should just forget about it," can actually reinforce feelings of hopelessness, shame, or damage their self-esteem. Instead, listen, reassure, and offer to support them. Also, don't tell someone that you know how they feel if you don't. It's okay not to understand. Instead, say, "I can't begin to imagine what that must feel like, but I want to try and understand and be here however I can." Try to use active listening skills and ask open-ended questions. Open questions encourage the person to share more. For example, if you want to know how someone is sleeping, an open-ended question would be, "How do you normally sleep?" Whereas a closed question would be, "Are you sleeping badly?" Ultimately, the goal of your discussion is to try and understand what someone is experiencing and provide a level of support without the need for you to offer any solutions or solve the problem. You may also want to go to the GP with them or help them to talk to a friend or family member. Try not to take control and allow them to make their own decisions. In the next module, we'll talk about how to support someone who is experiencing mental health issues.